Well, hey, good afternoon, everybody. You're right at the noon hour here, October the 28th, 2025. We still got beautiful marigolds, all the corn shacks there, the pumpkins. Yeah, let's head towards the lake. We'll head east on Lake Street. Hey, that's appropriately named here. Welcome to Chicago. Yeah, Michigan Avenue's there. There's the Carbide and Carbon building. There's the original Prudential, the sun setting. There you see there's the Scott, how you doing there? Scott G, thanks for tuning in. There's the Hazel Johnson mural there, Mr. Super A. That's the original Prudential building. That one time, briefly, was the tallest building in Chicago. It doesn't look that tall, but it's taller than the Board of Trade, just barely. And look at that, the annex that was built in 1988 is just under 1,000 feet tall, very prominent there, and postmodern building. There's the Aeon. We'll go right by the Aeon, but there's Hazel Johnson there. And we saw that mural go up earlier this year. So hey, Kat, how you doing there? Kat Bravo, Ryan, how you doing there? Noontime, yeah. So we'll check. I got a message later this week. I heard a rumor, and they've used this intersection before to film for Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, Chicago Met. They might be using different streets or the streets below the streets, but maybe later this week we might see some filming activity in the Lakeshore East area around here, and it might be in a different location. So here we got some wind. The wind will die down, hopefully. It was pretty wind still this morning. We're just around the Aeon building, which is 1,100 feet tall, a little shorter than the World Trade Centers, even though it looks like it. This used to be the Standard Oil building, then it was the Amoco, now it's called the Aeon Center, Aeon's Insurance. You see Aeon, A-O-N, see how it's spelled there. Well, we got about 55 degrees, it's not bad at all. It's a beautiful day here. We'll head across, yeah, there's the 6 bus, and went up the stairs here. Yeah, I don't want to, it's a nice woman. She's got a really short dress there, so I don't want to be accused of trying to film up her as she walks up the stairs here. But here we'll, and I think she was wearing shorts underneath there. It's just, you know, people are going to mention something in the comments. Here's the, yeah, there's the Aeon there. Hey, we got some nice mums here. This is the drop-off. Katie, how you doing there? S-Fan Sky, Izzy, how you doing there? Yeah, thanks for tuning in the Lunch Bunch here. Appreciate it. Thanks everybody here. Generally, I'm probably going to head across the Chicago River. We'll head by the 400 Lakeshore development's getting tall. And I'll probably just head out to the Olive Park. We'll get that nice view of Streeterville because it's a sunny day here at Olive Park there, near Navy Pier. I don't know if we got time to check out Navy Pier or not. Hey, they got this fountain on. Well, we'll film this fountain because they're about to turn it off, and there's a fountain on either side of the Aeon Center. See, here's the limo drop off for the whole place here. But hey, let's check out this fountain here. How you doing? And, we'll get hey, you see they got some skylights that goes down to below here. There's a food court, and here's the waterfall. Yes, we'll get the oblique view. We're gonna head over. There's the Genie Gang. There's the Aqua and the St. Regis. Here they got this fountain on this little Niagara Falls. They got some seating here, which is on the side of the Aeon. There it is. So, hey, and, here we'll head around here. Yeah, that's Fan Sky. How you doing there, Benji? Christian? Yeah, nice views here. Christian Bridges there, Katie, Ryan, Izzy, Ben. So, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not going to acknowledge weird statements that allude to things. There's the demographics of the Loop are pretty mixed. People from all areas of the city come here and mix. So at least during business hours, the area in the Loop here is pretty diverse. These people from all sides of the city, west, south, and north, converge here. We're going to cross here. And see, they're working on Columbus here. Hey, we got some Toledo rolls there. We saw that. That was in a different part of the city here. Here you get this nice view to the Aon. Or no, this is the Aqua. This is the Aqua. That's the Aon. That's the Blue Cross and Blue Shield. And this is called Lakeshore East. And again, when I moved to this city in 1999, this is Chicago, there was only a few buildings over there. There was those buildings, and the Swiss Hotel was the last one. And the rest of this has been built since the 2000s. And it's a residential with a few hotels like the Aqua Blues there. There's a Hotel Radisson, or the, I forget what the name of that hotel is. You go through it sometimes there. Fairmont, it's called the Fairmont, yeah. But here we'll head down to this park. I think the fountains are still on. It's a good sign that the Aon fountain's on. And thanks for tuning in there. Yeah, listen to Anita, stop spamming. Anita, feel free to mute anybody that makes stupid statements. I saw a few stupid statements in there. And, you know, people are allowed to make stupid statements. That's free speech, but doesn't mean we don't have to look at them. We can choose to block them. There's nothing against the law to blocking ignorant comments. You're free to speak ignorant comments, but we're free to block them. But hey, Anita, thanks for being on here. Yeah, we're in Lakeshore East here. And thanks to people who are on this morning there. I've been posting the reruns there in the... we got podcasts. Got podcasts, which is really just reruns of my videos, but I guess you could listen to them through the podcast option there. And I don't think anybody's listened to them yet, which I don't blame them. I reposted some of the Halloween decorations. We saw great Halloween decorations. Thanks, Anita, for being on so long last night, because we streamed for 2 hours and 45 minutes, even when the World Series was going on. And I could have streamed longer because that World Series game went to 18 innings, went to 3 in the morning Eastern time, 2 in the morning Central, past midnight for Los Angeles. That was a late game. They essentially played 2 games. Regular game is 9 innings. They played 18 innings to get a LA Dodgers won 6-5. It was tied 5-5 for most of half of the game there. A lot of pitching. Hey, we got exciting World Series. Ohtani had an amazing offensive performance, even though they walked him 4 times, and he's going to pitch tonight. It's amazing that this guy is like, he can pitch, he can hit, you know, the modern day Babe Ruth there. Here's Lakeshore East. This is the park in Lakeshore East. Look at these nice fountains. Wow, look at the mums. They always landscape this so nice. So in the springtime, there's tulips. And then here in the fall, we got mums, and we got some flowers and some other beautiful things here. Look how they got. We got to film these fountains while they're still on here, because. And look, we're just starting to see the fall colors now. Millennium Park, some of the trees are losing their leaves because those are the first to turn green in spring. But we're not really seeing. Usually, I remember beginning of November is usually when we get our fall color. So hopefully we'll get some fall color eventually. These trees are still pretty green here. California's tuning in there. Jesus, how you doing there? Christy, Aisha, thanks. Margie R, Christian, yeah, thanks everybody. And Christy M there, yeah, Anita. Alfonso, how you doing there? D-Lime Tea Time, Pete. Yeah, Pete's tuning in there. Hazlitt, Michigan, yeah. So you know where we're at here. See, there's a view back to the Aon. Look, way off in the distance, that's the Sears Tower behind the Pittsfield building. And there's the Aon. We just went by there. We got 1208. Feels pretty nice in the sun. Hey, there's a water fountain. So I'm going to get me a sip of water, even though I just started my walk, because it'll come in handy later. Hey, just a little sip will do me there. Hey, walking the dog. You can get the divvy bike here. And yeah, we'll walk across the Chicago River. And we'll see if there's any Coast Guard action. I saw some Black Hawk helicopters. That was last week. This week we just saw some regular Coast Guard helicopters. Yeah, Naya's tuning in. Naya Papaya. Simple life. Yeah, where is everyone? That's okay. I think, you know, the more you live stream, people do have live streamer fatigue. People don't need to hear my voice all the time. I appreciate people that do, and you know, I live stream 3 times a day, usually work week, so it gets old. People got other stuff to watch, other things to do. There's other live streamers streaming all the time as well, and they're all probably on TikTok. They're probably not on YouTube. There's still vast of my audience is still on TikTok, and they're watching the other Chicago-based live streamers which are on TikTok, which is great. I'm glad to promote them. I'm glad to share the audience here. This is great because they cover other areas of the city that I don't, you know where I'm at, downtown in Lincoln Park. You got to see other areas of the city. But we'll go up to Lakeview. We'll go up to Boys Town on Friday. They're going to have a Halloween costume contest and parade. It's one of the best 10 in the nation, and one of the best in the city there. So there, we'll head around here. Maybe we'll run into our friends that we met there yesterday, the women from St. Louis, because I said, "Are you guys staying here through Thanksgiving, Halloween?" And they said, "Yeah." I said, "You want to check out that costume contest?" They seemed like they were into it. I told them about the nightclubs up there, Sidetrack, and all the other ones there. So here we'll head towards the lake here. We're going underneath. I opted not to go up to that park there and walk up the stairs and get out of breath. So there's the parking underneath here. You see how there's a parking garage. We're underneath this, and they're walking the dogs. The dogs are circling there. Yeah, you're addicted. Tea lime tea time. See, I didn't mean to make you addicted. They're going to ban me like a drug. They'll be like, "No watching Brian Really Chicago. I'm bad for society." I spread my opinions, and people think they can sway my opinion by writing other comments. I'm like, well, that's your opinion. I got a different opinion. I like the people. I hope maybe eventually Jesus Rivera from the Bronx there will tune in again, and I would love to have a discussion with him. He's like, "This is exactly what I voted for." I'm like, "So you voted for masked men to intimidate children, and you voted for a bunch of government programs to be cut so they could fund ICE." And he'll be like, "Yeah, that's exactly what I voted for." And that's his right. A lot of people in America voted for this, and a lot of people are happy that Chicagoans, even U.S. citizens, are being intimidated and punished, because as long as it's not them being punished, they're happy to see other people punished. And I know that I'm trying to extract from the debate. I don't deny that people broke the law. The government's going to enforce the law. Just, is there a more humane way to do this? And actually, Jesus Rivera gave me a good talking point. He's like, "You didn't complain about this when Obama and Biden deported millions of people," which they did. Both Biden and Obama deported millions of people, just like Trump has been doing. But see, the difference is they went through due process. People got to go to court and have a hearing, and they didn't have masked men using rental cars roaming the streets of Chicago with long guns. That's why I didn't complain as much under Biden and Obama. There's a reason, and this is good. This is why we have people that push back in the comments, because it helps me refine my argument and have a better answer the next time they bring it up. So we'll see if Jesus Rivera from the Bronx tunes in. I appreciate he tunes in. I like people that have different viewpoints. I work with people that have different viewpoints in mind, and that's how I learn stuff. And it challenges my own assumptions to say, do I really believe what I believe for the reasons I think, or am I being manipulated by George Soros? Here's here, look how many boats are out of the harbor. So we've seen a lot of sailboats already go through the river, and a lot of these ones, they fold down their mast and they remove the boats and drive them to dry storage. And this is DuSable Harbor. See, they closed up the Michelle, Cafe Michelle here. There's Navy Pier, there's the Coast Guard. This is Chicago, Illinois, this is Lake Michigan. There off in the distance, you see that's the lighthouse at the mouth of Monroe Harbor there, right there. There's the lighthouse behind that boat there. It's like a mile out there. Yeah, Manchester, UK, how you doing there? No edit. Peace, Lisa, thanks for tuning in. How you doing there, Lisa? Thanks for tuning in. We got a beautiful sunshiny day here. We're at DuSable Harbor, shores of Lake Michigan, Chicago, Illinois. There's the Columbia Yacht Club. We got 55 degrees. I'm just wearing a light jacket here. I was wearing a heavier coat this morning. That felt good. It was a little nippy, a little cold. Look how the 400 North Lakeshore, you can really see it here from the lakefront even, and you'll see it from Lakeshore Drive, and it's starting to really get tall there. That's residential housing. We've been watching that go up here quite a while here, but here's the few boats. There's still maybe 30% of the boats still in the harbor here. We got October the 28th 2025, so it's getting pretty late in the season. Some of these boats stay until November. Hey, there's people fishing there. You can walk out there. You can go almost out to the Coast Guard there. We've done that before. But hey, look at the sunshine here. And we're going up to Olive Park there near Navy Pier. There's that nice skyline view of Streeterville. And we went out there for the Chicago Hinge in spring. I missed the Chicago Hinge this fall because I just got back from visiting my father. Hey, they got this map. Get this map of the loop, and look, they got the Sears Tower there. They got the John Hancock Merchandise Mart. There's the Grant Park. That's a map. That's cast in metal. There's Anita. There's the Anita D. Yeah, Anita. I saw you were on Friday. We went past that one house that had the graveyard. I mispronounced it. It was Anita. I need a new body. They spelled it N-U, and I said I need a nobody, but it's Anita New Body. That was the play on words there, like Amanda Hug a Kiss or something like that. Here's the funny names on the tombstones there. But we saw some other ones by the duck house this morning. Hey, they got architectural tours going on. There's the Ferris wheel, Navy Pier, the native D1. There's native D2 right here. Man, many ways to display the maps there, yeah. So hey, Aisha, Merck's tuning in there, Chicago 66. Yeah, the new 400 Lakeshore Tower. Let's check it out here. We can head up the stairs here. What I'll do is I'll go underneath. Yeah, I'll go underneath DuSable Lakeshore Drive, and then we'll be on the westward looking side of this bridge, Lakeshore Drive Bridge, and then we'll be able to get some vistas across the river, and we'll check out the 400 North Lakeshore there, active construction site. But hey, what a beautiful day. Thanks for tuning in there. Yeah, we'll look for Halloween decorations again tonight. I'll probably take an easier walk home. We'll just walk through the Gold Coast, and that's why I went all the way to it was worth it. We went all the way to Wayne and Webster, that old church there that it was the Taylor Swift and Kelsey, or Travis Kelce's wedding, and it was like a Chiefs theme with the skeletons and the bride and the wedding, and they had two-headed kids and crazy, weird, freaky, creepy displays. It was great. Hey, Chinatown. There's the old Riverside. Here's old Fort Dearborn. There's the Potawatomi. And here's the funny thing. The Potawatomi did not live in teepees, as far as I know. And that was more the Plains Indians. Maybe they did a little bit. That always used to irk my Creek and Cherokee distant cousins, that they assumed that the Cherokees and the Creeks lived in teepees, which was not the case. They lived in wooden, like the Iroquois had lived in longhouses, because, they always would confuse the Plains Indians for the Eastern Woodland Indians, which had a completely different culture, language, and history, and it's just, Any Indian was an Indian. Here's or Native American here. But here's the Chicago River. We're gonna see it here. We're gonna head up the stairs here. I got to think about where I'm walking here. I'm walking here. You know me, I can get talking about Native American history and not shut up. I posted the Melungeon talk to the podcast, but I don't know if anybody's going to listen to it. It only depends on if you have Melungeon ancestry yourself, or you think you have a long lost distant Cherokee ancestor. It might be Melungeon, which means there's still some Native American, but it might be Samponi or Occaneechi or Yuchi or Creek, and it might not even be Cherokee. And it's probably mixed with people that escaped the Spanish Empire that were marooned here. So the long, sordid history of America is longer than you think. So here, we'll head across. Just joined with Chicago. We're underneath Lakeshore Drive here. We're about to cross the Chicago River. And hey, there's the boat. Hey, here comes Lucia. So just in time, we'll get Lucia going underneath us here. There's nobody on board. They're packing it up for the winter. They're flying the Chicago fire flag. There's Lucia. Look, they got all the deck chairs folded up. There's the Trump Tower that's looking west on the Chicago River, the main channel. There's the 400 North Lakeshore residential development going up there. And there's the St. Regis. And here we're in the middle of the DuSable Michigan Avenue Bridge. There's the green looking Chicago River. It looks really green over there. But we'll check out this River East. I guess that's what they call this. I call it Streeterville. Once you cross north of the Chicago River here. 2019, hey, Chicago misses you. Joe Van Qualls there. It's good. Yeah, I walk in the winter. It's so funny. I forget I get that question every fall. I've been streaming. This will be my third winter that I stream. You know, just I try as much as possible to keep my same schedule through the winter, because the Chicagoans know if you live through a Chicago winter, you have to get out in it. You have to get out, you know. I guess you could run from your house to your garage and from your garage into the grocery store and back. And people do that. They'll wear shorts all winter long. I don't wear shorts. I wear layers because I walk for hours in 20-degree weather. So the key to walking outdoors and people that work in construction, think about all the Chicagoans that work construction all through the winter. These construction sites don't stop. They started this last winter. And so if you work in the trades, you work outside, or you're a bike messenger or anything like that, you learn to dress in layers. And here's the 400 North Lakeshore development. Look how they tie in the crane to the building there. And there's the St. Regis there. But here's the there's the workers here. So I don't know if they're going to build the second tower. They've really, I think they altered the design. I noticed they took the rendering down. It's just going straight up instead of, it was supposed to corkscrew and have this flare at the top, but I don't see that happening. But hey, it's Chicago. We got 55 degrees. We'll head over to Olive Park here. We'll cross the Ogden Slip. Yeah, we're at the Skivvies there. See Merck. You work in the Twin Cities there. Yeah. Minneapolis, St. Paul. Yeah, I really hope we get a lot of pretty snows. We get a lot of pretty snows because we haven't been getting a lot of snow in the city. Last winter, I was disappointed because several times we were forecast to get snow, and it would be a 33-degree rain. The suburbs would get the wet snow, and we would be like raining, and it would be that miserable 33-degree rain. I'd rather there'd be snow, you know. That's just my opinion, because people would tune in to see that. Here's the Ogden Slip. You can see how you can look back to the Tribune Tower. We're going to get some beautiful skyline views here in a second. See how this Ogden Slip aligns with the Tribune Tower. Look at that nice view to the Tribune Tower. The flying buttresses, the Gothic Renaissance, the Gothic revival styles there. And that was the Tribune, Chicago Tribune newspaper facility. They had a contest for it. This is the 400 North Lakeshore development site. It still hasn't been topped out. It's getting pretty tall. This is going to be the tallest of the two tower. I think it's going to be taller than that, which it might already be taller than that. And here we'll head down. We'll walk underneath, and we'll head towards the Olive Park here. getting sick in the Arizona, Nevada heat. See, positive, negatives, everything. You know, it's great. I love visiting Arizona in March because spring training is going on. Both the White Sox and the Cubs have spring training in the Phoenix area. But yeah, you have really hot summers. You know, D. Michael tunes in from the Mojave Desert. I think you're even hotter there in the valley of Arizona. You get to 117 there, and but it can get cold in the winter, as you know. Get the extreme desert. I've camped out in the Superstition Wilderness and saw the centipedes, heard the wolves howl. It's beautiful, beautiful scenery. The stove barrel cactus there, stovepipe cactus, is that what they call it? But there's the 400 North. Look, they're hauling a bunch of rebar concrete. See, it's reinforced concrete structure there. So they have rebar in all the columns there. So here we're walking underneath Lakeshore Drive. We're heading towards Navy Pier. What time we got? 12:25. So I'm going to head straight to Olive Park because we'll just have just enough time to go to Olive Park by Ohio, and then we'll walk across Ohio Street Beach, and then we'll head back through Streeterville because I'm on my lunch break here. Hey, Rapunzel. Aisha, Dolores, Jacksonville kid. Yeah, you should come to Florida. Florida's got some nice spring training at Winter Park. A lot of the East Coast teams have their spring training in Florida. For some reason, the Cubs and the White Sox have always gone out west, or at least the Cubs have. The Cubs used to go to Catalina Island a long time ago. Wrigley, the Wrigley family that used to own the Cubs, they still have, I guess, do they still have property in Catalina Island? They used to have a mansion out there in Catalina Island off of LA, and they would literally have spring training off the coast of California there on an island. Avalon, yeah, has anybody ever gone to Avalon? Take the ferry out there from Long Beach or the marina there. This is the flyovers, both the bike and the traffic to Lakeshore Drive. We're gonna expedite this by going this way. So busy with work, yeah. Climate change, yeah, I know. I'm sensing it, at least in the city. You know, we still have cold, long winters. It still gets dark and dreary and depressing. But we'll see if we're due for a harsher winter, because we really haven't had any. The lake has not frozen over the last 2 or 3 years. But the river will freeze over and the ponds will freeze over. We sometimes show the winter activities, ice skating on the ponds and the ice hockey. There, this is the bike path. This is the lakefront bike path flyover. And there's Navy Pier. There's the Ferris wheel, Navy Pier. There's Lake Point Tower. See Lake Point Tower there? Look, they got their own private park up here on top of the parking. And here we'll get some nice Lake Michigan views here from Ohio Street Beach. That's Streeterville. A lot of housing here. This is Lakeshore Drive, DeSable Lakeshore Drive. And this is the combined jogging and biking path here. It splits apart as we head further north. And if you look up that way, that's all the North Shore going up towards Lakeview and Uptown. That black tower is almost by Edgewater. It's in Edgewater. Yeah, those buildings way up there are north of Montrose Beach. That's what they call Edgewater. Yeah. Just a few inches, yeah. Just a little bit of snow. There you can look at the streets of Streeterville, the housing, Lakeshore Drive. Traffic's moving fine in both directions. Yeah, you can go. This is where you get out of Navy Pier, Lake Point Tower. Is there still a restaurant at the top? There used to be a restaurant at the top, but I haven't gone up there. Yeah, you're right, Pisa Lisa. So Lake Point Tower is the only residential high-rise that is. Hey, he's running a remote control car there. Yeah, Lake Point Tower is the only residential high-rise that's east of Lakeshore Drive, and it was The developer weaseled it in there. There was some industrial land left over from the Navy Pier. And so, well, here, let's head over here. So, hey, he's got a nice remote control car there. Let's watch him drive this thing around here. There it goes. Yeah, very nice, very nice. I like it. Yeah, pop a wheelie. That's good. Very nice. Thanks for driving that thing. That's nice. Hey, it's off-roading there. Look at that. Yeah, it's pretty fast there. It's a nice little remote control car there. We saw it when we went to the Indiana Dunes with my Aunt Della there earlier in the late in the summer there, Labor Day. We saw there was a remote control dune buggy. And those things can fly, man. That thing was going back and forth. Fun time. So we'll probably walk back along there. Here at Cafe Olivia, I'm sure it's closed for the season. This is Ohio Street Beach. This is Lake Michigan, Chicago, Illinois. We're going to try to get this nice view. Let me zoom out here. There we go. So that used to be the W Hotel. I don't know what it is now. We got this housing here. Hey, we got some waves. We got some pretty waves here. So here, let's head around Ohio Street Beach. We'll head over towards Olive Park here. See, we're going to go out over there. And we'll get a nice view to the skyline. Nice chill walk here for lunchtime, October the 28th. We got 12:30 on the dot. Nobody's here. Remember, all summer we go here and there'd be people lounging at the beach. Now we got the whole beach to ourselves. 55 degrees. There's Streeterville. There's the John Hancock. It's looking up the whole North Shore. We got beautiful waves. This is Lake Michigan. This is fresh water. It closed in 2022. Thanks, Pisa, for looking that up. So the restaurant on top of Lake Point Tower closed down in 2022. Thanks for that. You stayed in that hotel? Yeah, if you have, Navy Pier there. Sheridan, how you doing there? Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for the good information. So here, we got gentle waves here, Lake Michigan at Ohio Street Beach. Like that. Yeah, that's Streeterville. You end up walking. You know, it's good for Navy Pier, but you're right. If you want to get back to the loop or transit, you're walking down those long Streeterville streets, which are really long, east-west. Hey, look at the John Hancock. It's looking nice there. Yeah. Furniture Mart. See, that's got X's in it, but it's mirroring the X's in that. Yeah, Peggy Baker, how you doing there? Jessa. Peace and blessings there. Yeah, that's good. See, look at all these positive, look at these positive vibes. See, we get the positive vibes. There's some junk in the water there. I don't know what that is. Something got washed out there. But maybe to expedite this, instead of walking all the way back there and going past that fence, I'm just going to go there and then I'll get you the view here and then we'll head back along the waves. And it's nice going out there. Usually we go out to that diving board platform there, and that's the photo shot or the photo opportunity. But I like this. The waves here are so nice. We'll just stick along the waves and we'll get the nice view pretty close. And I think you can actually get around this fence. It says no trespassing, but there's somebody sitting there. I won't risk it now because if I get wet, I have to go back to work. So we'll just head here to the rocks and we'll turn around and show you this nice view. So this is close enough. This is Olive Park. Olive Park's named after a Vietnam War Purple Heart winner that paid the ultimate sacrifice. He lost his life by literally diving on a grenade to save his fellow platoon members in the Vietnam War. So we named Olive Park after him. He was African American, and they did that in the 1960s or 1970s when they built this. 1960s, because the city honored him with the name of the park after him, paying the ultimate sacrifice there. And there's the Lake Point Tower. See, there it is. There's the 400 North Lakeshore. This is residential. All this is residential. That's the W that we were talking about. That's the Furniture Mart. And there's the John Hancock. That's Streeterville. Beautiful skyline here. Yeah, it's a beautiful skyline. You know, that's what I remind people. I know people don't They don't like the big bad city for multiple reasons, either the politics or the crime or the, you know, high taxes or whatever. But you have to admit, this is a beautiful, powerful looking skyline and city, and we should be proud as Americans, even if you don't agree with our politics, that we got this beautiful architecture. And a lot of American architects over the centuries and or decades have contributed to this. And thanks for appreciating it. Look at that. And it's so striking that it's near the lake. A lot of people don't realize, if they don't know anything about Chicago, they're like, we didn't know, what's that big body of water there? I'm like, you didn't realize that Chicago's on a giant lake, and the Great Lakes are so large they look like oceans. But sometimes they're flat, and sometimes they got little waves like this, and sometimes they got big giant waves. And we film it all. And sometimes this lake freezes over in the wintertime. Hey, they were trying to make a castle there, sandcastle. Hey, I'm not the only person here. There's a few people out here. This is Ohio Street Beach, Chicago, Illinois. Thanks for having a relaxing walk here. I enjoy just taking a break from the office and coming over here. Like, I would do this whether I was live streaming or not, you know. And yeah, Chicago's beautiful. Yeah, it's 55 degrees. 55 degrees. I'm always confused by questions that people ask that they could easily look up with their own phone, but I know people want me to say it. They want me to say the time and temperature. And so we got 12:35 in the PM here, local time, Chicago. And we got 55 degrees Fahrenheit. What is that centigrade? I don't know the conversion. 10, 12, something like that. Celsius. Naturally grounding air. Yeah, that hurricane in Jamaica is nothing to take lightly. It's called Melissa. Yeah, Hurricane Melissa is going to really impact Jamaica. We were talking about it this morning. It's one of the major news stories, and hopefully it won't be as bad as we fear. It's going to dump a lot of rain on Jamaica. The mountains of Jamaica are going to get hit with some major wind. So our hearts and thoughts go out to our fellow Jamaicans there. I think of, remember we saw the Jamaican jerk chicken there at the nice food vendors at the in the springtime. We went to a festival there on Armitage, and here, let's head past the lockers. Look, they do have lockers here, which is nice that they actually have lockers at Ohio Street Beach. And I guess maybe you could use your own lock even. That's interesting. Some people lock them and never remove the lock. And they have to cut them off. You see that on bridges. You notice on bridges, people will put locks on bridges. And sometimes they'll put so many locks on the bridge, it'll add weight to the bridge. And they have to remove them. Oh, I guess I could have went, well, I'm already here, so I went the wrong way. But here, Ohio Street Beach, that's the lakefront bike path. That's looking north, Lake Michigan. There's Olive Park, Navy Piers over that way. There's Lake Point Tower. We're gonna head back into Streeterville and tootle through downtown Chicago here. Big John Nugget. $180-mile-an-hour for winds. That was in France. France had 180-mile-per-hour winds. What caused that? Was that just a freak storm? I need to look into that. I didn't realize that happened. Oh, it's 180-mile winds. That's Melissa. Melissa has, that hurricane has 180-mile-per-hour winds. Yeah. In Pittsburgh, the Roberto Clemente Bridge. Oh, that's the one. Okay. Now, yeah. So now I see what you're referring to. The Roberto Clemente Bridge there in Pittsburgh. Yeah, they put locks on there. I think it's for like good luck or something. There he's driving. We saw him drive that nice little remote control car there. So hey, you can go out to the park, drive your remote control car, fly your drone, have some fun here, run your way. New Balance commercials here. They put these up for the marathon. But the New Balance store's back open there at Clark and Fullerton. They had it open for the marathon. We got plenty of Chicago marathons reruns. I guess the New York marathon's up next. You could probably, I'm sure Christopher Dotson and our fellow New York-based live streamers will cover that. And I think that happens sometime in November, right? Yeah. No, it was more windy yesterday. Yesterday we walked and saw the sunrise, and if you watched that rerun from yesterday, it was pretty windy. People were complaining it was hard to hear me, but I still streamed anyway. It's not as windy today. We still had some wind by the tall buildings. Sometimes the tall buildings funnel the wind, but we just went by the lake and it wasn't bad at all. There's a few little gentle waves on Lake Michigan, but it was more, the sea was more angry yesterday. And so here we'll head through Streeterville here. This is the inner Lakeshore Drive. Hey, look at the mums here. The nice flowers are still out here. Yeah, Heather B. Stromboni. The grape tunnel. Is that what it looked like with the advertisements? Yeah. The grape ape. Hey, look at the purple. Mum's the word. 600 Lakeshore Drive. Look at this. There's two of them. This housing here. They got nice views of the beach there. Yeah. So here we'll get off of Lakeshore Drive. What time we got? 12:40. Yeah, we better start heading back to the office. So we're Ontario Inner Lakeshore Drive here, Chicago, Illinois. There's the old W Hotel. It's called the Wade now. Now it's not called the W. It's called the Wade. And so it's a different type of W. Let's see if this is open. Because people ask me what hotels to stay in Chicago, and I don't really know because I live here, so I don't stay in the hotels. And you can go to Four Doors or Yelp or something else. They'll give you ratings and reviews of the hotels. I don't know which ones are the best or worst. See how there's parking. There was a revolving restaurant up there. I've been up there. So they call this the Wade. So I guess it's not the W. It was the W over by the Sears Tower shut down as well. So they probably sold these properties and they're rebranded here. It's called the Wade. I just want to see what their lobby looks like. I'm not going to spend much time here at all. We'll show their parking rates on the way out here. And here's the Wade Hotel. Used to be the W. So it's still here. Lisa, you said you stayed here. The Wade, there it is. Look, they got some nice lobby here. They got a bar. So it's still a hotel. Still a nice location here. There's the check-in counter. Hey, there I am. How you doing? Hey, they got a nice bar. Go down here. Yeah, it's called Current. Current at the Wade there. You can hang out here. Got nice views of the lake here, and I'm sure if you go up in your room, as long as you face to the east, you'll have beautiful views of Navy Pier and Lake Michigan sunrise. And yeah, I got a bunch of aerosol cans there. It's nice. Hey, you can sit in these little pods. So the Wade Hotel, Lakeshore Drive, Chicago, Illinois. There's the parking rates. Look at that. Overnight, $67.19. Total $86. Overnight, 8 to 12 hours, $86. 0 to 2 hours, $33. That's your parking rates there for the Wade. Now you see why I don't have a car. Not in this city. Hey, I like the mural on the bricks here. So hey, if you just joined here, we just checked out this Wade Hotel. We went to Ohio Street Beach here. We're on our lunch walk here. Lucas Beaufort here. It looks nice. It's like a little Legos. University Children's Center here. There's a lot of hospitals. Streeterville. Kinder Care. Yeah, there's a lot of daycares over here because there's a lot of housing. You got the wings? Yeah. It's distracting? Yeah. Tom Jones in the round. Yeah. You get tired of the Tom Jones there. But hey, yeah, see, so I think revolving restaurants were more of a novelty, several decades ago, and then every city would have a revolving restaurant. But then, yeah, it was so, because one side looks towards the city and the other side looks towards the lake, so you could get both views both ways. So positive and negatives, everything. It's just a gimmick. They should make it go really fast. It's like in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, they went to the Circus and there was a carousel bar and they couldn't get off of it. Imagine when you're drunk and whatever they were on in that movie, they were inebriated so bad they couldn't even walk, and they were on a revolving carousel bar and they couldn't get off of it. You just stay there drinking until you pass out. I have distinct memories. I haven't been to Las Vegas since 2007 because a friend of mine had a bachelor party there, so we stayed the weekend. We stayed in New York. It was nice. But I remember 4 a.m. going back to the hotel room, and I was still drinking at that time, so I'm surprised I remember that because I probably was drunk and passed out too. There was all these people passed out at the slot machines, and they had their hand on the button, and they were literally like there until they passed out, and they were still playing the game, and they passed out, and the cleaning people would just let them sleep there, and they'd wake up and they would start playing again. And it was I was like, man, that's hardcore. Gambling states of America, all gambling all the time. But here's McClurg Court, Ontario, McClurg. Hey, the Shirley Ryan Mobility Lab. Yeah, we'll cross. We saw this earlier. Here's a nice view to the St. Regis. We could head down this way with the St. Regis here. I'll cross the street, so we'll be in the shadow. Well, actually, this isn't too bad. Yeah, let's stay here in the sun. The sun feels good. At 55 degrees, the sun feels good. There's some hazy clouds. So there's a 7-Eleven. We're south of Ontario. This is McClurg Court. We'll zig and zag, and we'll end up back at the Wrigley building here. Arrived, Streeterville. So what's this place? Buena, the original, Buena, it's original Italian beef. I heard this Italian beef's pretty good. Has anybody tried the Buena beef here? It's an Italian beef joint right here on McClurg Court here, south of Ontario. Buena, I need to remember that. So I know by Johnny's in Elwood Park, that's probably the best. Buena's pretty good. We went by Mr. Beef last night, which is used for the bear. Of course, there's Al's Beef if you're looking for Italian beef sandwiches. But Buena beef here, if you're downtown, that might be your best downtown option besides Mr. Beef. So you can contrast that with Mr. Beef and see which one's better. Mr. Beef's on Orleans, and that's what they use for the bear. So here, this is looking down Ohio Street here. Yeah, no, the light just changed, so we'll stay on this side of the street. I want to show the statue to Streeter. Since we're in Streeterville, it's over here in front of the yoke. We'll show the old statue to Captain Streeter that he ran his steamship aground around the time of the World's Columbian Exposition. And it magically ungrounded when they started the ferry. He would ferry people back and forth to the fair. And then once the fair was over, it magically got stuck again, and he lived on it with his wife, and the Vice District grew up around it. And that was the beginning of Streeterville, because it was new land. It was, you know, a lot of this was new land that they push out into the lake after the Great Chicago Fire. Yeah, salute pizza. Salute. Yeah, the Padres. So here, we'll go over here. We'll check out the Captain Streeter statue in Streeterville. Yeah, look at this housing here. I remember when they built this building. There's the St. Regis. There's the 400 Lakeshore. There's the 400 Lakeshore going up. We went by it earlier, so you can rewind, and we went right underneath it here. We're waiting for the left turns here. There, we got the light. So here we'll cross McClurg Court. Boris, there's Brand. Yeah, how you doing? You singing? Oh, car's gonna get me, or the taxi. So here's the statue to Captain George Wellington Streeter, born 1843, died 1921. An eccentric resident who gave Streeterville his name. He owned a Laker steamship that ran aground, and then he lived on it, and he didn't pay taxes. It wasn't on the tax code because it was a new sandbar that developed after the Great Chicago Fire, and when they built a big extension in front of the mouth of the Chicago River, so the mouth of the Chicago River went sealed up. That's when all the sand collected here and made a big beach area that the people started to live on. And that was Captain Streeter there. He's really eccentric. And he lost his land claim battles with Fairbanks. Fairbanks, there's a street named after Fairbanks. And that's why Fairbanks was wealthier. He could afford better lawyers, and he had better connections with the city. That's why he beat out and won against Streeter. Look at this nice little park here. There's a little pocket park in between this residential development. This is on Grand Avenue. This is Grand Avenue Streeterville, Chicago. Hey, they got a flag there. That's cool. Hey, you get this little park here. The pigeons like it. Yeah, Michael. Hey, all the Michaels there. Super Birdie. Birdie, how you doing there? Germany. Sprechen die Deutsch. Yeah, how you doing there? Auf Wiedersehen. Thanks for tuning in. Dankeschön. 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 There's Irish Pub and Cafe, D4. There's D4. They got the Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish there. Go to D4 Irish Pub and Cafe right here on Grand Street, Streeterville, Chicago. There it is, D4. Super B. Beach, please. Yeah, we went to the beach. If you rewind, we went to Oak Street Beach. So, hey, there you go. It sounds like Austin Powers. Beach, please. Very nice. I like your name. Here's, yeah, that's the back of the Optimus signature there. Housing development. See, this is, it's meant to be rusty. They have this rusticated steel that they used, and it was meant to oxidize and have that rusty brown finish. And it was supposed to protect it, but it looks rusty. And they liked this in the 1970s when they liked brown and orange and these weird green colors and stuff. But now it looks kind of, it just looks old. But it's a modernist skyscraper here, 541 North Fairbanks. And this is, let's get across the street here. This is see, Columbus, one way it's Fairbanks, the other way it's Columbus. It's really, see how, look at the sign. It says Columbus this way, that's Columbus. This is Fairbanks. It's the same street, but it changes name right here at Grand Avenue for some reason. And Fairbanks was the guy that fought with, it's named after the real estate developer that developed a lot of this originally. There's a Hellman Jan 100 years ago. And here, let's head this way. Let's go behind the Yukon here. Every time I see a big black van, I think of ice now. They rent most of those cars. They're all rental cars. Would the police, would the Chicago police use rental cars like minivans and stuff? It's funny. There's they got a 4-horsepower engine, or a four-cylinder engine minivan, and they're trying to chase people down. It's funny. Here's the mums. It's not funny, but it's strange. It's strange. That's what I'll admit. Who voted for this strangeness? It's a very strange time. Somebody's like, I voted for this. So you voted for strangeness. Okay, good for you. I voted for strangeness too. Just not this strangeness. Eat colors found in nature. Yeah, nice strawberries there. See, there used to be a escalator, but it only worked like one season. It didn't. It broke down immediately after they installed it, and they just never maintained it. But here we'll head up. We'll head up the stairs here. There's the, see, there's the St. Regis, the Lowe's, this housing. Whole Foods is here, Planet Fitness. We'll head up the stairs here. And there's the NBC Tower, and there's the streets below the streets here. So here we'll head up here. That's $30 there, much cheaper parking there. Zombie is tuning in, that's great. Nice and quiet. Well, hopefully. It's not quiet everywhere. There's certain areas here. Here we'll head around here. Yeah, we made it. Okay, good. So hey, we're gonna head straight towards the Tribune, the Wrigley Building, and the Trump Tower there, the Equitable Plaza. We'll head to Pioneer Plaza. We got 1253. This is perfect. So hey, thanks for going to the beach with me, and keep me company on my lunch break here. We've got another 5 to 7 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. We'll head back over to Michigan Avenue. Hey, they're putting the Christmas lights. See the streets, see, that's the ground. We're not on the ground, we're on this causeway that connects with Michigan Avenue, that becomes a causeway before it crosses Chicago River, and that's why we go between streets below the streets on Michigan Avenue and Wacker. This is the same thing. And eventually they want to fill this in behind the Tribune. There's planned to be a super tall, 2,000 foot tall building, but it never gets under construction. So you think, I don't know what they're waiting for. Here they're putting up Christmas lights. This is the NBC Tower. There's the St. Regis here. They're putting up Christmas lights. October the 28th, 2025. They're putting up the holiday lights. Very nice. Looks good. Here's the roundabout in front of the Optimus signature. We'll say hello to Brandon. How you doing there? And yeah, they got this park here. A lot of times the food trucks are over here. But yeah, this empty lot, they were testing the soil, but then they never start construction, and it's on permanent hold here. But there you got the nice view to the Aon, the Prudential, and the Aqua there. Here's the NBC Tower. There's the 400 Lakeshore there off in the distance. But they added this stuff on the back when they converted the Tribune Tower to residential. They added all these buildings on the side there. Yeah, the Tribune East Tower, you're right, yeah. So it's probably not going to happen now, which is okay. There's taco burritos. I sent a message to Taco Jalapeno Salsa, but I haven't got any word back, so I guess maybe she defriended me, or that's okay. No. Hey, look at this. Yeah, we went by Daily Plaza yesterday. I didn't see them start to build the booths. I thought they would have started by now. For the next 2 weeks, if you look at the event calendar for Daily Plaza, it has it blocked off for the setting up of the Kris Kringle Market. They might be setting up today. We didn't go by there. So later in the week, tomorrow there's a bridge lift, but probably Thursday we'll probably go by. Man, that's a speaker. So they have a speaker, and the pigeons are ignoring it because it's not scaring them away. It's the call of a predatory bird. But yeah, they're starting to set up for the Kris Kringle Market. Yeah, they got Daily Plaza kind of cleared and blocked off, and they might be starting today. Hey, let's check out these pumpkins. It looks like they got something inside the Equitable building here, the former Equitable building. We'll head around here. Hey, pigeons, what do you say? I didn't mean to make you fly away there. Just trying to walk through here. Rats of the air. Here's the Chicago booth. School of Business. University of Chicago. They got the Gleacher Center. All that stuff here. So hey, Chicago Tribune. There's the Intercontinental Hotel. Hey, it looks like they got pumpkins here. So maybe they got some pop-up shop or something. Let's see what these. Yeah, it looks like they have pumpkins decorated here. I want to see if I don't know if they'll let me in here. Maybe they won't, because it seems like they got the door closed, and I don't think they want me heading through here. I see security. Yeah, they got it locked. So here they got some nice pumpkins there. How you doing? And they got it blocked off because they're gonna do it later. They got this nice seating area here, and they have some nice pumpkins there. I can't see them because they won't let me in there. I wanted to film them. And can we get through this way? Let's see. Yeah, let's go through this way. So we'll see if we can walk over here. And they might not let me pass this. I think this is a let's check this out. Let's follow along with this person here. Hey, look how they got the plants here on the. That's some real life plants here. Look at that. I can't film the pumpkins. Is that closed to the public? Okay, thank you. So good. So here, they got some pumpkin carving thing. I just wanted to show the pumpkins. Look at that look. She was gonna tackle me. She was gonna tackle me and take me down. She thought I was gonna storm the gates there. She gave me the look of death. It was great. I got chills. She was like, "Nuh-uh, you ain't getting past me." I said, "Okay, I'm not even trying." I was like 20 feet away from her. She scared me away. It's good. So here's the that perfectly sums up what it feels like to live in America now. It's a bunch of people shaking their heads saying you can't do stuff. Oh, we're the land of the free, the home of the brave. No, you can't do that here. You got to be a VIP. You got to be a billionaire. You got to be on a list. You know. We're going to prove to you how unfree you are by telling you can't stream, you can't do this, you can't do that. You can't do anything. But hey, you pay your taxes and enjoy America. Here's Jean Baptiste Point de Sable. There's the, I'm just joking. I'm just messing around. I'm not really angry or anything. I think it's funny. I'm just being flippant. I'm becoming a nihilist. How can we believe anything in this guy's America when, did you see when he was in Japan, usually when presidents are overseas, they usually don't give politically charged speeches that pander to their American base. Usually they speak with these international lofty goals about American power, soft power, and freedom. And then I think the current president made a statement, something that he wants to use the military again for the U.S. cities. He wants to use the United States military to police the big bad cities and solve crime. And you know, even though it's admirable, he looked out in the crowd. He goes, look at all these beautiful people. And then he goes, well, I don't like beautiful people. Did I say that? I really don't like beautiful people. And we're like, what are you talking about? You know, and Biden used to do stupid gaffes. I made fun of Biden. Biden makes gaffes. I make gaffes just like Biden. Biden was funny. He made stupid statements all the time. So does President Trump. We should laugh at it. It was a stupid statement. Didn't make any sense. He's allowed to make a gaffe just like Biden. But it was just, I'm like, where are you going? Just like I ramble on and people complain about me rambling on. Well, the president doesn't too. So I'm just emulating the president by rambling on. Not making any sense, I know. Here's London Guarantee. There, we're going by the Trump Tower there. But see, I feel, from my experience of live streaming in downtown Chicago, and this is true of other cities, I'm sure in New York, corporate power still has as much control of your life as the state power. And corporations will tell you that they control your life just as much as the government, with rules and their own private security guard that will exclude you from their property. They'll protect the corporate interests. Same with sports teams. It's a corporation. Your ticket says you're allowed to be here until we kick you out, and they can ban you for life. You have no rights. You know, it's the rights they grant you as a paying customer. And so as long as they're willing to pay somebody and someone's willing to take the job to protect billionaires, they're going to do it. And I like security guards. I like to stay on the good side of security guards because we talk and interact with them. I like the security guards in my building here. You know, they positive, negatives, everything. They got a tough job. They got to deal with homeless people trying to sleep in the office, and they got to deal with people damaging corporate property and protests, and it's a hard job. But again, you know, same with the police. It's a hard job. You're gonna have to deal with crazy stuff. But here, Michigan Avenue. Thanks for tuning in here. I'm gonna sign off. So we'll be back on. We'll be back on after 5 o'clock. I'll just head home from work. We'll look for Halloween decorations. Thanks for tuning in here. And here, we'll cross the street here. Yeah, Aisha, Wes. Nutella. Yeah, Nutella's right down there. We usually go buy it there. Be Michael Zeppelin. The time is now. Ramble on. Yeah. Checking bag of chips there. Eating lunch there. Thanks, Judy. Yeah, Chicago's beautiful. Christy M there. Thanks for tuning in there. Vlad Mira. Bunch of rockets there. Hey, Scott. Flip it. Those buildings weren't built by the Egyptians. That's great. Hey, thanks everybody for your good comments. Thanks Anita and everybody else for being on. Okay, we'll see you after 5 o'clock tonight. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Enjoy this 55-degree sunshine, and happy fall, y'all. Check out those Halloween reruns there. Appreciate it. Peggy, thanks.